Hey, you guys.
Hey,
That's
I
perfect.
followed that dude on TikTok.
This guy?
Yeah. Although
That's
I
nice.
haven't seen videos in a long time, so I think he might be shadow banned or something.
Hmm.
The
How's it
question
going?
is,
Hey
when are
man,
you
we
guys
are
coming to do?
we are recording this. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, perfect. Just want to let you know ahead of time. Would you mind introducing yourself to us and then we'll do the same?
I'm just a guy from Kansas that ended up buying this house.
You want to leave it at that?
I mean, trying to be as humble as I can. You know how I am.
Yeah. Right on. Well, you got Charles and Todd here from Our Town Podcast, and we are based out of Renton. But we are big 80s, being Gen X guys, we're big 80s fans and movie fans and that kind of stuff. And I know for Todd, Goonies was probably his number one childhood
Yeah.
movie. So,
It's,
Whoop,
because
whoop.
we're me and Charles are about the same age, give or take a couple months, but we're also this around the same age as Sean Astin, because he was also born in 71, as well as Corey Feldman was also born in 71. So we're all the same age. So watching that movie was just like, okay, yeah, this is like me and my friends hanging out, and we would go out into the woods and you know do all kinds of exciting stuff. We never found a pirate ship though.
you didn't find One-Eyed Willie's treasure?
We used to do the same thing when we were kids, to be honest with you. Right after we saw the movie, my friend Michael, he's the guy that ended up in the house right next door to the Goonies house,
Oh,
not Data's house, but on the other side. It's a funny story because in the 80s, him and our families lived side by side together in Overland Park, Kansas.
Oh,
And my mom took me, him, a brother of mine, and a sister. We were all little. I was probably about 9 years old at the time to see Goonies. And after that, I'm sure like for you guys, we just related to everything. I mean, Michael was a big BMX racer. We rode BMX bikes, as
yeah,
kids. We skateboarded. We did everything that was in that movie was related to our generation's childhood.
yeah.
yeah.
So, and then, you know, I consider myself an underdog. I came from, we were poor. I came from nothing. And, when you come from nothing, you have to start somewhere and just bootstrap and work your tail off, right, to try to get somewhere. And
Yeah.
I never thought in my wildest dreams that something like this would be possible just because of where we came from. Tiny little houses, living with family, hand-me-down clothes, all that stuff. So, it's a great story how, 30 some odd years later, Michael happened to move to the Pacific Northwest and he has a house up in the Seattle area. So he lives up
Oh,
by you guys
okay.
full time. And then he
Oh,
also has houses in the Portland area. And I called him as I was taking a stab at this house. We came down here to Astoria for the 30th anniversary back in 2015. And we also came down in 2013 because I was visiting his family for his wife's 40th. And then I was like, isn't the Goonies house like close to this place? And he's like, yeah, it's about an hour and a half that way. And I'm like, can we go? And he's like, of course. I was like, let's go, let's get in. And I remember what it felt like pulling into Astoria and starting to like recognize scenery. So I was like,
Mhm.
God, that kind of looks like the crosswalk where Rosalita crossed. And
yeah.
that kind of looks like the bowling alley that Chuck smeared the pizza and the milkshake on. And you start kind of putting stuff together. And then when we finally get to the neighborhood and we get to the house, we're at what I call base camp at the base of the driveway, where you kind of feel awkward. You're like, well, wait a second, am I trespassing? Am I going to get shot by, old man Peabody's shun because I'm on his property? It's like, but it's the Goonies house. And it's like, you remember when we were kids, that kid in me, that 9-year-old jumped in my brain and goes, just go, man. And just bolted up the driveway, took our pictures. I was just enamored, in awe, could not just believe that this was the set, this was the house, and it's still here. And I'm amazed by Astoria. It's the whole town is a set. It's a movie set. It's a real town, but you don't think that. But it was funny because when I'm trying to make a run at the Goonies house, I made it very clear to everybody, the brokers, to Sandy through the broker, that I'm not going to get into a bidding war. I'm not the richest guy on the block, and I'm going to have to borrow the majority of the money to buy this house. I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. but I know that if I can figure it out and I can get it, I'm the right guy. Like I know I'm the guy that's going to share it, keep it updated, make it look like it did in the movie. I'm that guy. So I told the broker that. I told Sandy that when I met her back in 2015. And when we finally got down to the finish line, the biggest issue was the house next door, because her daughter lived in the house next door and they were selling their houses simultaneously. So this monster offer came in from Hollywood. And at the time, I didn't know who it was. And I had told the broker, I'm not going to compete with Sean Astin or Corey Feldman or Steven Spielberg. If they want the house, they can have it. Like this, they earned it, whatever. But if they're not in the race, if they're not in the hunt, then let it go to the person that you feel is the best steward, to carry the torch. And so they said, well, this is the tough thing. She really wants you to have this house. She knows you're a Goonie. You were here for the 30th. You're a true fan. But she's got a 6-figure offer bigger than what you're offering. And the guy's going to buy both the Goonies house and the house next door. Oh, wow. And he's going to close in 30 days. And I was like, I'm out. I fold, I'm like, there's no way. And so I called my friend Michael, same one I saw Goonies with in 85. And I said, Mikey, question. So I'm in the hunt to actually buy this Goonies house. If somehow I'm able to buy it, would you the house next door and we could be neighbors like when we were kids? And he's like, oh, how much is it? Dude. And I go, $550. And he goes, all right, screw it. Let's do it. Tell him I'll buy the house. And I was just
true friendship, man. That's true friendship right there.
I'm telling you, it's such a special story. So I wanted to tell you guys that because the way I got this house was an absolute miracle. If you believe in anything, the universe, God, or some superpower, you'll know that certain things happen for a reason. And the way that I got picked, I was not the highest bidder. I was not the fastest closer. There was a lot of factors, but I knew that I was a big fan. I'm not saying I was the biggest fan. I am a massive Goonies fan, and it's in my vocabulary since I saw the movie. But holy cow, what a dream.
Man, it really did come down to like heart, right?
Right. That's all it was.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you bought it how many years ago?
I bought it. We closed 1/11/23.
23. Oh, geez. So, man.
Last year.
Michael's a couple years younger than you guys. He's born in 73. I'm 70. I'm a 76 baby. Michael's 50th birthday party was January 11th, and organically we closed 1/11.
Oh man,
it's the craziest thing, man. How this all played out.
That's
so weird.
Super cool. So, can you say who the Hollywood person was that was trying to get the house?
Yes, I can now because he disclosed and he called. He was the first call I got after my name became public. He asked permission and I granted it. I was like, yeah, no problem. Have him call me. It was Adam F. Goldberg, the producer of the Goldberg Show.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
dude. He did an episode on the Goldbergs where I think Sean Astin
was a Goonies episode
or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did a Goonies episode. Oh yeah, he's
awesome.
And every episode of the Goldbergs effectively sums up our childhood. So it's like
right. I love that show.
Do you know? Did you discuss with him what his thoughts were about if he had ended up purchasing it? What his plan was, or did he just want it for his personal use? Or
he was going to do something similar. Now Adam doesn't have the ability, I don't think, to travel as much as I do. I'm able to travel a lot more, so he would have been probably stuck in LA more. But my understanding, he's kind of told me that because he owns a lot of the original movie props. So Adam owns Chunk's original Hawaiian shirt from when he did the truffle.
No way.
He has it, and he has the only other screen used map. He has the map, the treasure map that were on the bones, that were on the piano when they were playing and trying to get out. He has that one. The other one Sean Astin had, and you guys probably know if you followed it, his mother threw away cleaning his bedroom one day. So Adam's got the map, Adam's got the Chunk shirt. But he did tell me that those items belong in the Goonies house. He already told me you can have them, and they're worth God knows how much money, $100,000 or more per piece probably. So he said they belong in the house. I said, well, stop. We got a bulletproof glass, more security, more whatever. because they're one of a kinds. But he was turn it into like a museum and put a bunch of props, which is kind of what we're doing. See, we're remaking it, and ever since, again, I was just a regular business owner from Kansas City area that wasn't very well known. I mean, I was known in Kansas City for business, and I played poker for a while, so some people knew me there, but I wasn't known at all. I wasn't famous. I wasn't an actor, musician, or anything. But I became what they call lifestyle media famous after the house purchase because they just blasted it on every channel. So everybody knew my name, and it's such a weird name. It's such a different name. It's not like Adam, it's not like Adam so and so. And so they're like, oh my God, that's the guy that I met or I went to high school with. And they're like, how did he get the house? And it was just a kind of a magical thing. But I pledged that I'm going to renovate this house and make it look like it did in the movie. When I did that publicly, a lot of production companies reached out to me and were asking me like, hey, we want to produce this show. Some wanted to do a documentary. Some wanted to do 6 or 8 episodes of unscripted TV. And I decided to partner with a company called Fly on the Wall. They're the company that produces and still produces Big Brother. If you remember Big Brother,
Yeah.
They're on their 25th season right now. They used to produce, I think, The Real World from when we were a lot younger. And they produce like the Kardashian show, which I don't watch, but know who they are.
Same.
So they just kind of fell in love with their Goonies, their staff's Goonies. They're a big production company. They're like top 10 in LA. And they said, listen, we're going to make a show out of this. You cannot renovate this house without us documenting it, filming it. It has to be on TV. And so last March, April-ish, we started the journey. HGTV bit. We did all the pitches. They did the Brady Bunch show renovation. Right. So they said, listen, we were actually going to buy the Goonies house, but you beat us to it,
That's what I thought was going to have bought it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the concept was my goal is right in line with what HGTV was going to do. Simple, renovate the house. They're like, great, we didn't have to buy the house. We would have bought it and resold it after the show or something. So we went through the process that you go through with a network, which is a long, painstaking process of getting approvals. There wasn't a single person at HGTV that voted down. It was all yeses, all check marks, all green. And then it goes to Warner Brothers, all check marks, all green, everything is good. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on what the future holds, the writers went on strike, the actors went on strike, and Hollywood just froze. And as a result of that, we got to the end of last year, at the end of 23, and they said, well, we want to do your show. It's effectively green lit, but we don't have any budget money anymore. And I was like, well, what does that mean? You guys are Warner Brothers, for God's sake. You're HGTV, like, this is only a $4 million budget series. You do way bigger budgets than that. They said, yeah, the powers that be just are not signing any checks right now for new content. And I'm like, what? This is going to be the biggest blockbuster show. So then we roll into the new year, and now we're in January, and I'm sitting there and everybody does their New Year's resolutions. And I'm like, damn, I wasted like 9 months of my life, to get a show that I thought I was going to get. And I promised the world I was going to renovate it. We haven't done it, even though we've built like half the Rube Goldberg. We've done stuff. We just haven't done it on TV. I said, okay, we have to do this ourselves. So I called Fly on the Wall. I said, I got a question for you guys. You guys told me that you want me to have this project, and you're telling me you don't really care if you even make money. You're trying to make money, but you don't care. Like, you're fine with it because you guys are such fans. And I admire that. Is that really true? And if so, if I can come up with the money through friends, families, and just raising money, if I can come up with that money, would you guys still produce it? And can we still make this happen? And they said, wow, that definitely changes things. We've never done that before. We usually just get money, produce a show, and then give it back to the network. We've never done this independent route. I said, well, that's the route we need to go, because we can't afford, Goonies around the world cannot afford to just sit here and wait any longer with the 40th anniversary approaching and all the momentum. I was like, this house renovation series has to happen. And so for the last 8 months, all I've done is gone back and forth with attorneys and this and that. We're like on the 2-yard line. We are so close to signing. It's just lawyers. That's all it is. But we're most likely going to make it happen. Once that's signed, Adam Goldberg said he's in. and a bunch of other people said they're in. So I'm really confident we're going to come up with the money and we're going to have this show going.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, a lot to unpack there.
I first discovered you and you get in the house on TikTok last year, and I remember seeing all the videos of you and your buddies reenacting scenes from the movie.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite that you guys have done that you like continuously do or still do this day? Or
I mean, the favorite, without a doubt, is the truffle shuffle. I mean, there's just something about being able to relive, because as when we were 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, however guys you were old, that was funny, right? That was just the funniest thing in the world to go to elementary school and just make fun of, I could do the shuffle, blah, 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 blah. And it stuck so much because, like you were saying right when this podcast started, that's like what we did when we were kids. That's exactly what we would do to a friend, to make them get in the front door, right? The one that we're picking on or something like that. That's exactly what we do. Truffle shuffle is probably number one. Every scene, every line, whether it's Our Time or Chuck being with Sloth and saying, gee, mister, you're even hungrier than I am, when he's like chowing his food, or every line to me brings back that time frame, which I call in my life, and probably your guys, the best times of our lives.
Absolutely,
those were the best. They were the absolute best. Like right now, I'm just going into that space on my BMX bike, trading garbage pail kids, chomping on bubble gum, going to my friend's house. How did we know our friends were home? 7 bikes were in the front yard. Oh, that's where they're all at.
Yeah.
Going inside, playing Nintendo, the first Nintendo, or playing Atari or Commodore 64 or something like that. But this was our life, man. And now we're all grown up. We have responsibility. We have house payments. We have expenses. But back then, it was just about teasing our friends and goofing off and having fun. And Goonies was the movie that really showed us all what true friendship is, what love for your family is, what it's like to go after something that seems completely out of the realm unachievable, and they say never say die, but never give up is effectively what it is. Just never tap out, never give up. That's the theme of the movie. So that inspired me. That balled up into my heart and in my soul.
Yeah.
And everything that I've done in my life, when it came down to wanting to give up or wanting to tap or say I'm done, I didn't do it because of the Goonies movie. It was instilled in my blood, man. Yeah.
I just had my daughter watch it for the first time. She was just turned 14. So, and that's one of the reasons we were heading to Seaside for a little vacation, just father-daughter trip. And we said, hey, you got to watch this movie, and then we're going to swing by the house. And that's what we ended up doing. But just watching her watch it for the first time and getting chuckles out of it, and her teenage years, her age now, is so different than it was when we were kids, right? It's
Right.
she'll still go outside and play, but our whole lives were outside on bikes and building forts and playing soccer in the street, climbing trees, whatever it is. But just watching her light up on some of this stuff. And then the most fun I had was like, do you recognize that guy? Because she's been watching a little Stranger Things. She's been watching some of the Marvel stuff with Josh Brolin and stuff like that. So it was, do you recognize that guy? And just kind of seeing the look on her face when I would point out who it is, kind of thing. But yeah, I just want to just say thanks for, kind of reopening the house, because before you got it, there was a push to not have it be such a
landmark,
a mecca, right, for folks to go to. Is that kind of a correct statement that they?
Yeah, it is. Even though, so Sandy Preston was the one that bought the house in foreclosure in 2001 or something like that. And it's crazy that it even went to that. I mean, I can't believe that it went to foreclosure, but it's not really. Sandy was spectacular. She was a fan. She's a Goonie. She loved the Goonies, the movie. She just lived here full time, 365. And so for her, there were people, I heard stories where people would walk up on the porch and, peek through her
Yeah.
windows, and she
Jeez.
might be fully dressed, right, and stuff like that. So she
Oh man.
she got aggravated by the people that didn't really have the respect that you should have for somebody
Yeah.
else's house. But the bigger problem is that there were a lot, and there are still some neighbors that don't like the movie. They are so anti the movie, the fans, the everything, and they say and do things that are just against what they did. Just like when, I'm sure you guys saw, when I bought the house, the lady 2 houses down, that's like a renter or whatever, we don't even know what she is. She doesn't own the house. Put a big banner that said "Goonies not welcome"
Oh man.
on the
Yeah,
front
I've
of her
seen that.
house. And we're rolling, and it made the front page of Reddit because Mikey, my friend, he put a sign on the front of his that said "Ignore Karen" with the arrow pointing at her house. And then, and then I put a sign that said, "Hey, you guys, Goonies welcome," just to make it clear.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, let's go back to the story I told you guys when the call started. When I showed up in 2013, I felt like I might be trespassing. But then I thought to myself, like, do these people even know what they have? Do they know what this house represents? At least in my heart, I know it does in others, but do y'all know what this is? Like, and then I was like, is it a museum? Is it like in a commercial district? Can I even? And then the thought went through my head is, dude, somebody has to buy this. It's a fan of the movie and hold on to it and just let people
Yeah.
come visit it.
Yeah.
You can't, to me, this house is so iconic. You can't, it would be like visiting, like, the Statue of Liberty or Mount Rushmore or something, right? You're gonna tell people they
Graceland.
can't come to Mount Rushmore,
Yeah.
or the Statue of Liberty. Like it's that big, it's so crazy.
Yeah. I will say that the neighbor on, if you're facing the house on the left across the driveway, a really friendly older gentleman, he came out
Yeah,
and was like, "Hey, where you all from?" And we chatted with him for a couple minutes. So nice guy on that side.
he's
Were
the guy that used to own the house.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he
I
just seemed like he was kind of amused at all the people that were there taking pictures and and that
Yeah,
stuff.
we call him OG, and that is
Nice.
original Goonie. He's in his 80s. He recants stories. I love going over there and talking to him. We're friends with the family.
That's great.
We're enough friends that they let us put a zip line up last Halloween, and we had a blow up data doll going back and forth
No, that's
between the house.
That's
great.
great.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
great.
still there. Actually,
I
if you
did
go on
see
my
it.
TikTok, you can scroll down. Yeah,
I
you can
did
see
see
that.
that. I
So
thought, yeah. Did you guys
yeah,
put the sign out down at the T in the road? Did you put the large sign that talks about parking for Goonies down there? Or did the city
okay.
do something with
So
that? Or
the city did that, but there's a story behind that. When we moved to the neighborhood, the place was unorganized as far as signage, right? So you had neighbors that were begging for the city to put signage like that, and then you had crazy nut, people that are ripping down signs that are helping, that
What?
say "No cars, Goonies on
right.
foot welcome," right? All this stuff. So we're battling unreasonable people. So people that complain about the traffic, and then we solve the problem by putting up our own signs that say "Goonies on foot welcome," no cars. And then these same people rip it out of the post and throw it off the cliff and do this kind
So
of stuff.
dumb.
So yeah, it is. It makes no sense. So we went to city council meeting. We met the police department, the fire chief, and then they asked if we would be willing to be present if they organized a city neighborhood meeting. So the Chamber of Commerce, which is Warrenton and Astoria,
Hmm.
it might also be Seaside, but it's at least Warrenton and Astoria. The head of their chamber, David Reed, who we became friends with, he's a really nice guy, good guy. David was reaching out, said, "Hey, we really want to work this out. You got some neighbors that are disgruntled. You have people that love the Goonies and support what you're doing. What can we do?" And I said, "Well, it seems pretty obvious. The most of the complaints we get are some Goonies being disrespectful, parking their car in no parking zones, running up to the house and running down and just ignoring it. By the time the police get there, they can't enforce it because they're gone, whatever." I said, "Well, why don't you guys put up signs?" We tried to, the neighbors keep ripping them down. They said, "Well, it's against city code." And I said, "Well, why don't we get the city in meeting and have like a sign variance coordinated or instituted to where the city puts an exemption and allows for signs because of the circumstances. And so we had 2 neighborhood meetings. The first one was very tense because the lady that put up the sign was there, and so it was nasty. She's accused me of a lot of stuff that is not true. She said things about me that's not true. It's just being manifested out of nowhere. She was saying that stuff before my name was even public.
Wow.
I was just some guy under contract. But you asked me who put them up. Ultimately, the city ended up doing it. And they also put a sign at the base of the Goonies driveway that puts like rules like, pick up after your pets, walk up, whatever, visit during normal hours. We don't want people at 11 o'clock at night coming by.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We're just trying to, let the neighbors know I've spent so much time and money and energy on creating a basic website, getting on Google, putting parking directions for Goonies. So if you Google the Goonies house, it'll say like park, either at the pier and walk, or park at the kindergarten school, walk to the house. And so I fully support what the neighbors are asking for. And then I say, be respectful. If you're walking a dog and you're coming to visit the house and it poops, pick it up. We're not, when 400 people stop by the house in a day, or 100 people or 500 people, whatever the number is, don't throw your trash down. Don't be that person. Like, I'm all about letting people come visit comfortably and make memories and do the truffle shuffle and have fun. But this is a neighborhood, and I would be a terrible neighbor by just saying, yeah, do whatever you want and throw parties and dirty the place up. No, not going to do that to my neighbors.
I remember seeing Sean Astin did a video like before you bought the house. The previous owner had like blinders up around the porch so people couldn't see inside the house. The tarps, that's what it was. And he said, this is someone's private home. Be respectful. He said that on his social media. They're Goonies fans, but someone lives in a house. Be respectful. Don't just be walking up and looking in the windows.
The interesting thing about the house is sort of the geography of the streets, right? Because you've got the long driveway that goes up. So, I mean, I can kind of see if, like you're saying, people being disrespectful and, driving up and down the little gravel driveway causing issues. But I think the city's done a wonderful job, and you've done a wonderful job to sort of make sure that doesn't happen, right? And the other thing I thought was kind of cool is sort of looking into Astoria, and I don't know if it's the Chamber of Commerce that's doing this, but they seem to be embracing sort of that movie history there, right? Because you've got Goonies, you got Short Circuit. I can't remember the other movie, the big movies that were down there. Kindergarten Cop, yes.
Yeah, well, also part of Free Willy was filmed here.
Yes.
And part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think the third one was also filmed here.
Yeah, I feel like they're sort of trying to embrace that a little bit more. And I know that's great for tourism, right? You're bringing people to the city.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So first of all, Mac Burns, who's a great guy. This guy's the director of the film museums down here. Great guy, helps organize all the celebrations. So he's a big part of organizing the 40th anniversary that's coming up next year. Mac is the guy that's really the heart and soul behind that. They are embracing it without a doubt. As a business owner myself, this house is a big part of what generates business for this city. It's not all of it, but if it's 10% or 20% of it, that's a lot. When you're a business owner, that adds to the bottom line. And I've had business owners, because I'm very friendly. I like to go meet people and network and things like that. And I've met a lot of the business owners in Astoria, and some of them have texted me and said, hey, keep up the good work. My sales are up. My sales doubled, last week or last month, whatever. So I'm definitely, since we bought the house, definitely have added value to the town's business. There is more traffic, but again, I believe it's a lot better than it was before, where there was just a lot of unknowns. Can we go to the house? Can we not go to the house? Is it even open? Is it a museum? Is it a tourist site? Is it this? It's just simple. Walk up the sidewalk, park a car a couple blocks away, and stare at that baby just like it was in the 80s. I mean, it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we met I think 3 or 4 different groups when we got to the top of the little hill there, and we all took
Nice.
turns taking pictures of everybody's group and just a friendly atmosphere, and it was really awesome. So really appreciate
Yeah.
the opportunity on that.
Yeah.
So
That's what I bought this house. And Sandy knew it. That's why she sold it to me. She knew it in her heart. I bought this house to share with the world. I
Yeah.
want that to echo even after I'm gone. This house was bought to share with the world. You cannot own the Goonies house and say mine. It's not a toy you put in your toy chest. It is
Yeah.
when it's a piece of everybody's heart, from around the world. And I don't know what the number is. It's for sure tens of millions of fans, but it could be 100 million people or 200 million people. You never know the number.
Do you
It's
have
so
the numbers
vast.
on do you have any idea how many visitors you get day, week, yearly, anything?
Depends on the weather and the season. So in the
Yeah.
summer, it's significantly more than say the winter, right? And when it's raining,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it could be low. It could be 20 people in a day, 30 people in a day. But during like Goonies week, it could be hundreds, or it could break 1,000, right? On like a anniversary. I know when we were here for the 30th, for sure there was over 1,000 people, like easily.
Oh, wow.
You had
Yeah.
10,000 people probably in town for 3 days. Every one of them went by the house, probably, right? So
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
you do the math. But on a typical day, it could be 100, it could be 200, it could be 300. It just depends on the weather. I know that the 100 million Goonies in the world all would make it here if they could.
Yep.
Just some people just are in foreign countries or currently can't afford it. I couldn't afford it for a while. That's why I had to wait till the 30th. It took me I didn't come. They had a 20th anniversary celebration in 2005. They had a 25th in 2010. Finally, in 2015, I was my head was above water, had some money saved up. So I brought me, the wife, and our 2 kids, and we came out here, and then we went to the Back to the Future 30th in LA
Nice.
and did that whole thing, which was equally as crazy good. And I'm just as big a Back to the Future fan as I am Goonies, but people always say, what's your one favorite movie? And it has to be Goonies, because it's a single movie, it's not a trilogy, and also it's just like the one. It's just the one that, just
Right.
kind of trumps every single thing, that exists. So
So since you bought the house, have you had any interaction with the cast at all?
I have, believe it or not, I sure have. The first person that I got direct contact with was Corey Feldman. Corey and I were emailing back and forth, which was amazing. He was congratulating me. He was on his social media tweeted my name, which I was like, I'm done. I'm good.
I think
I'm
that's
good.
maybe how I found out about you buying the house, was him posting about it. So
Yeah, and then what was super cool was it started just Corey, and then Corey said, "Hey, me and Sean," meaning Sean Astin, me and Sean, we want to do something with you in the house. And I was like, "No way, serious?" And so then he invited me and my wife to meet him at the San Diego Comic-Con in San Diego last year. So we went out there, and when we showed up, his bodyguards and him, they all recognized us immediately. They moved everybody out of the way, and I got to just talk one-on-one to Corey for like 15 minutes. I got it on video. I haven't posted anything yet, but it's just like the autograph line halted. He's charging like $80 for an autograph that's personalized, or $160 for a non-personalized, and the line's all the way down the convention halfway, and he stops that line to talk to me about the Goonies house. That's all he did. So then, he has his band and he travels all over the country. Coincidentally, one of his stops was Kansas City. So his bodyguards reached out to me and said, "Hey, Corey would like to see you again." So we went to the concert and we got to hang out in his trailer, talk to him again, whatever. So Corey was great. Sean, what's interesting about Sean is the biggest proponent, I would say, of the house, him and Corey, but definitely Sean, because Sean is the one, like you said, that did the tweet, like, "Hey, leave the lady alone. It's a neighborhood." Well, he was telling people it was getting to me, "Hey, I'd like to get a hold of the guy that bought the Goonies house." And I'm thinking, I'm not that hard to get a hold of. You could DM me on Instagram, or send me a message. But what ended up happening was this summer, like weeks ago, like 6 weeks ago. I was in Cleveland for the Sports Card National, and I was at the Heritage Auction booth. They do all the like movie props. Right now, they're like auctioning off the ruby slippers from the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow.
They do all this kind of stuff. And one of their guys was talking about Goonies. I was like, I'm gonna one up you. I bought the house, and he's like, say what? You're the guy? And I'm like, so then he's calling for Joe. Joe's one of the owners of Heritage. Joe, you have to meet Joe. He's best friends with Sean Astin. And I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Everybody would say that, right? He's like, no. So Joe, one of the owners, comes out and he's like, so you're the Goonies house guy. I was like, yeah. He's like, well, you're trying to get hold of Sean? Let me call him. So he calls him. He doesn't answer because Sean was at Comic-Con this year signing autographs. And then Sean calls him right back and walks over. And the guy literally has Sean's like contact pulled up and goes, take a picture of that. Sean wants you to have his number. So now I have Sean's number. You know, I have Corey, and then Jake Fratelli. So Robert Davi and I have become buds.
Nice.
Davi's this, you know, and being one of the Fratelli brothers, I would like for him to come out for the 40th also. I feel like he's got to be here just because he was just such a good bad guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was just the bad guy. He was just the perfect one. So would love to get him out here. And then I know Chunk. So Jeff Cohen sent me a friend request on Facebook. When I bought the house, I had like thousands of friend requests immediately. It was like everybody wanted to be my friend. So to find Jeff Cohen was tough. And I didn't ignore him. I just didn't see him for a couple weeks. I was scrolling, and I was like, Jeff B. Cohen? I think that's Chuck. And and he's a member of this group or that. So I accept. And it's neat because I'll post Goonies stuff and he likes almost every one of my posts that I do for Goonies. And then Corey Feldman told me that he grew up. Almost come here for free, like on his own free will. So we're trying to hook that up. And if we can get Josh to come out and the 4 boys and the girls, if we can get, Martha Plimpton and Carrie Green to come, that'd be amazing. If we can get the Fratelli brothers to come, it'd be amazing. I met Troy's father, the actor that played Troy's father at the 30th. I met Sloth's stunt double, Randy Winder, but he passed away a few years ago, sadly. So, we still got a lot of casts that's alive that we can get out here and keep the dream, keep the magic alive.
Has Brolin sort of distanced himself from the movie? It kind of
Well, he did for a while. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I think it's flipping. I think he's embracing it more.
Yeah.
Since he's been doing like Comic-Con stuff, he talks about it on panels and stuff. So I'm sure
I would imagine if he does Comic-Con that he gets deluged with fans coming to talk Goonies.
He's the big brother, man. He's Bran, man. He's the dude that we all wanted. I'm the oldest brother. I'm the oldest of my siblings. I didn't have a brand, so I wanted a brand in my life. Like he's the guy that take care of you and stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's I think that a big part of this, like the renovation show, is going to be interesting because I'm going to tribute it. We're going to put the bench back in a replica bench that they had on the front porch in the scene where Mikey gets dragged by Josh Brolin by Bran. And we want to tribute that bench to Richard Donner. The series, the show, assuming it happens, the renovation show, is going to be a thank you to Donner's family, Steven Spielberg, Steven's family, Chris Columbus, not only just the cast, but all the people behind the scenes, the assistants, the teachers that were teaching the kids while they were in school, while they were on set. We want everybody to feel like it's back and come back and feel this. We're gonna make, since we can't make a sequel because they're not going to approve it, and it's just going to be enshrined at least for the indefinite future. at the bare minimum, we can write a love letter to the movie, right? And that's
Right.
what this is going to be. It's going to be a love letter to the movie. It's not going to be a sequel. It's just going to be this kid from Kansas that grew up, somehow scrapped enough, credit and money to put a down payment, buy the house, and just is living that same childhood he had when he was a kid with his friends, his family, and complete strangers. I can't tell you how many strangers we open the house to, we give free tours to. We've had people spend the night with us for
Oh,
free.
wow.
We don't charge anything. We don't charge anything at all. It's all free. I mean, the house costs money to maintain. It's very expensive to maintain, especially because we're not here. So the people that have been donating, they come up the driveway and there's a little donation box that Sandy put there that's still there. That helps. It helps pay utilities. It helps, with a lot of the stuff that it just, when you own a property, it just costs money. And some
Taxes,
people just
insurance, everything.
Oh, and taxes keep going up because I
Yeah.
overpaid for the
They're not
house.
going down.
Yeah, and insurance keeps going up, so we've had people, we put our Venmo code up on the box, we put it on the website. We're not getting rich.
Yeah.
We're not getting rich off it, but every bit counts. These Goonies, and I'll tell you, it motivates me. Even when somebody leaves $1 or $2 or $5, it motivates me. It's like I know I'm doing the right thing already, but it's like, pat me on the back saying, keep going, kid. You're doing good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. Super great.
We'll definitely leave a link to the
absolutely,
website on the end of this video. How's the family? I know this is sort of your childhood. Are they all in as well? Are the kids like, what is dad doing? Are they embracing it as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's in my family as big of a Goonies fan as I am. There's no doubt. My wife is 100% supporting me. We've been nicknamed a lot of things. We're called Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, which is funny because she's got blonde hair, and they look at me. They're like, if you put on some glasses, you can almost pass for Mr. Walsh. And I'm like, I'll take that as a compliment, But so we're called the Walsh family now. Some of the Goonies that are in like the Facebook groups, as soon as I bought the house, and some of the just big fans just started calling me Head Goonie, which is a huge compliment because that was Donner and Spielberg's, name and stuff. So, if that doesn't put any more pressure on me to do the right thing for the house, like they're calling me that. So my family is fully supportive. They want me to live what dreams I have. As a kid, I always wanted to own the Goonies house. But let's be realistic. Rewind 40 years. I'm 8 years old. There's no chance this kid in Kansas that doesn't have $1.25 to his name. I'm having to take quarters, beg dad for quarters to go get packs of Garbage Pail Kids. How does this kid that doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together, be the winner of the Goonies house and live it? It's so weird being here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm actually in the house. You probably don't know that.
I figured you probably were.
Yeah, and that right there, that's the attic right there. That's the actual attic from the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So I could walk over there and show you the exact scene that it was. It's so incredible. But like, if you guys get back down here when I'm here, I'd be happy to give you guys a free tour, show you around.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
You guys wanna do it right. I don't let people in the house unless they do the truffle shuffle. It's just kind of a rule.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if I could do the truffle shuffle. I wasn't gonna not do the truffle shuffle.
Yeah, and so the most
I definitely got the belly for it. So
yeah, well, that's awesome. That'll make for better video. But I tell people, make sure you know your lines before you show up. So that way I don't have to act like I'm a movie director, although I do half the time. And then when you do your truffle shuffle, be proud of it. Just let it go. Like, act like you're a kid again and do it. We've had people do half-ass ones where they do like little half belly ones where they don't show their whole belly, and so I'm like, all right, whatever, we'll let you in, but that was kind of weak. And then you have people that just don't care, like you, Todd. They're like, I got the belly for it, man. I'm proud. I'm going to show off this.
Hell yeah.
My 51-year-old gut, is going to be all over social media, and it's all for the love of the game. I always put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And everybody laughs and comments, and I'll put, one of the Goonies soundtracks, like Cyndi Lauper's song or something like that in the background. And when it hits, people love it. It just makes them smile. It makes them feel good in this uncertain, crazy divided country world we're living in right now,
Yeah.
it's like it's funny. Matt, I was telling you guys about Mac earlier. When I first met him, he was just like, "Well, finally, nice to meet you, whatever." And he said, "Hey, before I start talking, I got to tell you something. I have never in my life met somebody that had a presence on social media that everybody loves." And I'm like, "That's interesting." I mean, I'm sure there's 7 people that have left, stupid comments or whatever, but he's like, "You literally don't have any enemies, for the most part. Everybody just loves what you're doing." I was like, "Because I'm not fighting.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm letting people live their childhood. This isn't about politics or religion or this law or that law. Like, I'm not here to argue. You're the wrong TikTok channel if that's what you're trying to get.
Yeah.
This is all about the Goonies and our childhood. And if not, swipe up and go to the next one."
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many other places to go for the vitriol. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, good
Yeah,
on you for what you're doing.
Thank you. And I've got a master plan goal behind all of this that we've got. People have asked me, and it's not like, "Oh, are you going to Airbnb it?" I've heard that 1,000 times. "Are you going to turn it into a museum?" I've heard that thousands of times. That's not the goal. The actual goal of the house is to first pay it off, obviously, so we don't have any debt on it. That'd be nice. And then we don't have to worry about Troy's father buying it up someday. But my goal is to utilize this house and the love for it and the love of the movie to try to bring this country back together as one, like as Goonies, in a non-political way.
Yeah.
Just like, look, we could have disagreements on this, that, or whatever, but at the end of the day, don't you love your family and your friends? Like, don't you love having fun? Don't you love adventure and da-da-da-da? If so, you're a Goonie. And that makes us equal. That makes us Goonies. You're a Goonie, I'm a Goonie. So are your kids, so are your friends. Let's not argue and hurt each other's feelings and make each other feel like crap. Let's just love this movie. And I really think that if this show happens and I get known, on this unscripted TV series, and people start seeing what I'm about, I'm not going to agree with everybody on everything. They're going to agree with me on everything, but that's not what this is about. This is about us all coming back together. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? That's what this is about. And if I can use this house to bring thousands of people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people to really have that same consciousness, that same mindset of like, yeah, you're right. Like, it really doesn't matter, because I've had people walk up the driveway when I'm outside engaging, which I do when we're here. I go outside. I'll probably go on TikTok live today. I love doing it. And, some people say, "Did you see that guy's flag in his house?" Whatever. I'm like, my response, "Hey, the great thing about being a Goonie is it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Goonies house."
Yeah.
You're welcome
Yeah.
and they're welcome. Everybody's welcome here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not about dividing. We're divided enough, and I think this house and this movie could be a start
Yeah.
to the solution. Let's make
Awesome.
that happen.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Man, we totally appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, man.
absolutely.
Is there one thing that surprised you more than anything after buying the house? Is there one thing that just strikes you as like, it could be something small, like walking in and seeing something off the wall? I don't know. Is there one thing that just blew you away after buying the house?
Well, definitely the thing that blew me away was when we showed up for the first time, and it was like, wow, we're in control of the house. Like, this is, I hate saying this is ours. When I say ours, I mean the Goonies. I mean the whole world. I mean you. Like, your ability to come here and have a tour, or potentially, take pictures or spend the night, or whatever it is. Like, all these things only happen if someone is such a big enough fan that's also giving enough to allow that. And it charges me up when I see people, when I go out and we'll just be messing with the yard or whatever. "Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being you. Thank you for allowing us to come up." You're very welcome. I wish it was like that 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
Sandy did her best, man. So she did such a good job. She was open to tours during the celebrations. For us, me and my family, she was perfect. I don't know these people that talk bad about her. I'm here to defend her. She is a wonderful woman. She was so good to the Goonies community. But the difference between me and her is that I don't live here full time.
Yeah.
So it's not fair to judge her to say, you know, she was mad at this. I'm not here full time. There's people here watching it full time. There's cameras, you know, we're here a lot. There's friends, but I would say the biggest thing was just walking in saying, wow, this is our house and our house to share. How many good things can we do with this? And can we create a movement out of it that's good, that doesn't hurt people, that doesn't hurt their feelings? You know, that would be the goal. Now I can't control 100% of everybody's feelings in this world. But you know, I think that was probably number one, was just like, wow, how did this happen? So I'm very grateful to what I call the superpower, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, whatever created all of us. I'm grateful for that entity for blessing me with the task of being able to be this guy in this cartoon. And I get to be the cartoon character on the cartoon to share the house. And as long as people keep liking videos and feeling good and kind of egging me on to do more goofy stuff, you know, related to the house, I'm going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it because we're having so much fun doing it, you know?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I got to run, so I hate to cut everybody off. But you can go and get more information. It's goonieshome.com, right? Am I saying that right? Go to goonieshome.com.
And then on Instagram, we're at Goonies Home on Instagram because somebody had taken Goonies House.
Okay.
And then on Twitter, we're Goonies House. And then we also created a Facebook group that's Goonies Home. And the way you know it's I think it says Goonies House. Maybe it's called the Goonies House, is in the bio or whatever. It'll have my name and links to like a lot of my stuff.
Okay.
But I tell people to follow that for updates. Yeah. Or if they want to engage with us, or they're coming to town and they want to come up on the porch, or, you know, I can't guarantee anything, but if some people get lucky, we gave a group a tour yesterday for free simply because timing. The lady's like, you guys do tours? I was like, do you want one now? And she's like, really? Are you kidding? I'm like, no, if you want to do it now, you can do it. And by the way, one last thing before, I know you said you got to go. You have a awesome news anchor that's a huge Goonies fan up in Seattle.
Oh, which one?
He works. His name is Saint Brian, and he's the King 5 TV guy.
Okay.
2 days ago, he was here and he did another story on us. So you can go and Google the story he did last year. This one, I know because I was part of filming it half the day, is going to be so freaking good. Oh man! So that's going to air in like a week or two. So keep your eyes out for King 5 News.
Is it? That's going to be a good one. Was it their evening magazine thing, or was it actually on the news? Do you know?
No, it's like he's a news anchor. Like
he's a news guy. Okay.
Yeah, he's a news guy.
Yeah, I know King does a evening magazine thing where they do feature stories and stuff. So
like Entertainment Tonight.
Local. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Thank you guys for reaching out.
Thank you for being here and just for everything that you're doing. Your mission is awesome. It's awesome that it's available to the world. And you've put it out there, man. That's awesome.
Yep. Just be nice and friendly and respectful to the neighbors, everybody. Please don't get me in trouble.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks, Todd.
Cool. You bet. Talk to you later.
I'll give you a buzz later.